This is the Experience Pros Radio Show. Got an opinion or want to ask us a question? Email radio@experiencepros.com or message us on the Experience Pros Facebook page, and we'll interact with you live on the show.
Hey, welcome back to the Experience Pros Radio Show. Having more fun than we really ought to. Sitting in for Angel Tussey is Cher Ashland. Cher pretty much runs our office at Experience Pros corporate headquarters. Thank you for being here.
You're welcome, but that's not really.
I'm pretty sure we couldn't do it without you. I know that for sure.
I just fit the peg.
Hey, when I went looking for a dictionary definition of the word intuition.
Okay.
And this is what I found. Intuition is the ability to acquire knowledge without proof, evidence, or conscious reasoning, with or without understanding how the knowledge was acquired. And there's a picture of Angel looking back and saying, get back to work. Or it might be a picture of our next guest. Rick Snyder is an American-born, Paris-based CEO of Three Hats, a leading business consulting firm. His promotable website is 3-hats.com. That's 3-hats.com. An international business coach, writer, speaker, and consultant who has launched 3 businesses himself. He is an expert in mentoring, training, and teaching others how to utilize the process of bringing intuition to an effective business plan and company culture. Here to talk about that is Rick Snyder. Rick, welcome to the Experience Pros Radio Show.
Hey, thank you guys for having me. I appreciate that.
It is our privilege having you. Rick, you don't normally hear a conversation about intuition when it comes to business and business development and so on. You say that you believe that intuition is what others should use to guide their decisions in business and in life. Why is that so?
Well, basically, we're all looking for a competitive advantage in the business space these days. And one of the most untapped areas of exploration is really intuition. And why I say that is intuition allows you to do 2 things. Number one, it allows you to read out in real time what's happening right now in your environment. So, for example, listening to your intuition on your team or in your company culture, you get to see what's happening with your employees and your staff. How engaged are they, for example? Using your intuition to also look at your marketplace and where that's going, possible innovation and disruptors in whatever industry you might be in.
Oh, okay.
The other thing intuition does, yeah.
Well, I was just going to say, if we're going to rely on intuition in the workplace, though, I might as well just open the door and go walk to the corner and stand in the corner, because I know I'm going to be in trouble for something. I just don't know what it is yet.
Mm-hmm. Right. And so what I'm saying is intuition combined with logic, combined with doing your data analysis, to me, that's really the winning formula. But what's underrepresented in the business space today is the fact that intuition is not really, as you said in the opening dialogue here, is not really talked about in the business space. It's not really mentioned. There's really no blueprint on how do you actually develop an intuitive thinking team, an intuitive strategy. And so that's really where I'm coming from, is really a fresh angle on how to bring that into the business space so that you can anticipate the future.
Rick, this is Cher. I have a quick question for you. I always notice different names for businesses, and there's always a meaning behind that. And it always has some type of personal meaning or overall meaning. What is the name Three Hats? What does that mean?
Yeah, so Three Hats for me means 2 different things. The first thing is Three Hats are the 3 different services that we offer. So we do speaking engagements, business training, and also consulting around the world. And the deeper meaning of Three Hats for me is also the 3 approaches that you have in a business. And so you can approach your business through a technician hat, which is the people who make the product or the service. There's also the manager hat of the people who direct the technician work. And then lastly, there's the entrepreneurial hat. So seeing your business from that entrepreneurial vantage point, which is a completely different way of relating to the business than the technician, for example.
Yeah, it is very interesting. Of course, it's reminiscent of our friend Michael Gerber, which I understand you are a certified eMyth, certified business coach as well. The idea of implementing intuition into your training and so on, it goes with you got this gut feel. How do you quantify that, Rick? Because at the end of the day, don't you have to answer to the numbers?
It's a good question. So I think the real winning formula here, once again, is really a combination of the two. I think you're right. You can't ignore the numbers. You have to see what the numbers are telling you. But here's the interesting thing, is that relationships, which is what business is really based on, is messy. Having customer complaints and having to deal with that in real time, or making a hire that you think is perfect on the resume, but you just get that gut feeling that somehow they're just not going to be the right fit for your culture, even though the data might tell you it looks perfect. And so that's where this other channel of information is really powerful, because you can start to draw on how do you trust that gut feel that you've developed over time, maybe sometimes through trial and error. But over time, you start to hone in on that so that you can make better decisions in your company.
Have you got some examples of, so that myself and our listeners can kind of wrap our heads around what you're seeing in the field and who's using intuition to maximum benefit?
Yeah, it's a great question. So I always look to the industry leaders in innovation. So companies like Google and Apple and Zappos and a lot of these leading tech companies are starting to bring in more and more of these, what I call interrupter type ways of thinking and strategic thinking. And so I'm seeing a lot of these companies on the forefront bringing more mindfulness practices, intuitive practices, anything that interrupts our normal way of thinking is where we get our outside the box innovations and aha moments from. Okay. And so I see a lot of those different kinds of groups on the forefront, but I'm also seeing this. I have a company that I coach, for example, in Arizona, and the owner actually will literally, when he's just stuck and he can't see the way out of his problem, he'll actually push himself away from the computer, go out for a walk, and literally get new ideas that he never could have gotten before if he just stayed in front of that computer, thinking the way he was thinking and just doing the same old approach. And in fact, Steve Jobs was very famous for walking around barefoot in his neighborhood to think about the different ideas or different possibilities of where he could take the company. You
mean that wasn't just Ashton Kutcher's walks in the movie?
He did a really good impression of that one.
Yeah, he did. All right. Rick Snyder, the CEO of Three Hats. Where do you want people to follow up with you and connect with you and your process?
Yeah, so thanks for that. So if you check out my blog on 3-hats.com, and that's 3 spelled out, -hats.com, you can check out my blog, and I'm having a lot of articles on this very topic of how to take intuition into different aspects of your business, whether it's sales, marketing, hiring, all the important areas of a business. How can you actually do it more intuitively? And so that's a great place to follow up. And then I'm actually writing a book that should be launching in later 2018 on this very topic as well.
Well, keep us in loop for the release of that book as well. I've got a gut feeling it's going to be great. Thanks so much, Rick.
Thank you, Rick.
All right. Folks, don't go anywhere. More positive business talk is just ahead. If you'd like the archives of this broadcast and every broadcast that we do, go check out experiencepros.com, click on the radio tab, and there's a button that says Radio Archives. Cher and I will be back right after these messages.
America's home for positive business talk. You're listening to the Experience Pros Radio.